Welcome aboard the North Yorkshire Moors Railway for a journey back in time to the golden age of steam.
Good afternoon, can I see tickets, please?
Every year, 500,000 visitors come to marvel at these miracles of Victorian engineering.
I came all the way from Ireland for this.
Keeping it all on track are a dedicated team full of pride, passion and true Yorkshire grit.
Be honest, we love it.
Engine shed manager Piglet is in charge of all things mechanical.
I've just pranged it into the side of the building. I've got that Miley Cyrus song in my head now.
Boss Chris has to balance the books.
I'm not the fat controller.
Signalman Alistair works the points.
No rest for the wicked.
And there's ticket inspector Bertie Blower.
You better not film this, though, in case my wife spots it.
This time, it's full steam ahead as they race to get Eric Tracy, the pride of the fleet, ready for the summer season.
There's a lot to go wrong, but we've done our job right, so it worked perfectly.
And the railway faces its biggest challenge yet as a heat wave turns the Yorkshire Moors into a tinderbox.
One big fire and that could be the end of us having to run steam engines, it really could.
It's a roller coaster ride through glorious country. This is the Yorkshire Steam Railway. All aboard.
Have you got a ticket for the dog?
It's July and the North Yorkshire Moors Railway is about to start its busiest time of year.
Good afternoon, can I see tickets, please?
Over a 6-week period of the summer holidays, the railway operates its so-called gold timetable, making it the busiest steam railway in Europe. Every day, up to 2,000 people travel the 18 miles of stunning scenery from Pickering at one end to Gromont at the other.
It is just special. The place, the scenery, the people.
It's like a bit of oldie worldy, but in the 21st century.
Come at least twice a year. We absolutely love it.
It costs a hefty £7 million a year to keep the railway running, and a successful gold timetable is when the biggest profits can be made. With hot weather bringing in extra punters, General Manager Chris is cautiously optimistic.
Could always ask for more, of course, and we could always do more to control our costs. But fundamentally, we're in a pretty good place at this moment in time.
But on a steam railway, you're never very far away from a problem. The man under pressure to keep the locos running is Engine Manager Piglet.
Get on your engine and then let's get you off. Hang on a minute. Oh, hey, that was close. I'm a bit worried then, I didn't think we were going to get on. The gold timetable, you can't cram any more movements and engines and trains on the railway. We are running at 100% capacity.
The sun has got his hat on, and so's Piglet.
I've treated myself to a new hat. It was £3, but the other one, it was all right actually because it had that much oil and grease on. It was actually, it was completely waterproof. But my wife made me get a new one.
In Pickering, crowds are gathering for the first day of Gold Timetable. It's only 9 a.m, but the temperature's expected to hit the high 80s by noon, which isn't great news for Linda and the team in the station tea room.
It gets very, very, very warm in here. And this is just the beginning of the day. It is going to get a lot warmer, I think. Even though we've got the fans, they just circulate the heat.
Suddenly, there's a last-minute run on breakfast butties.
2 bacon, 1 sausage, 2 bacon and tomato.
The first train leaves at 9:25. With 10 minutes to go, Linda's got to get cracking. The station foreman on duty this morning is 83-year-old volunteer Bertie Blower.
You're not going to get on, can you go down the platform, please?
During Gold Timetable, there's a train every hour, and it's Bert's job to keep the platform under control and the service running on time.
As you can see, the platform's a bit chaotic.
We've got 5 minutes.
OK. I'll give the shout at 20 past.
Back in the tea room, Linda's still got orders to get out.
Come on, got time for this.
I'll do passage to the 9:25 train.
We've just got one customer, tell them.
Right, OK.
This must be the only railway in the country where the timetable plays second fiddle to a sausage sarnie.
What won't be a minute for you. It'll be done in time, no worries. Oh, he's made it just in time, thank God for that.
Butties safely delivered and passengers boarded, it looks like Bert's just managed to get the first train of Gold Timetable dispatched on time. Or maybe not.
Where's the TTI?
TTI is train speak for the on-board travelling ticket inspector, and he's missing.
No TTI.
Unless Bert finds his TTI, he can't signal for the train to leave. Finally, a railway volunteer steps in.
Thank you.
Right away.
At last, the train's allowed to leave the station.
You're supposed to be at the end,
Bert's not happy.
aren't you? Well, you tell the TTI.
Not at all.
He's having his lunch on the guard's van.
Well, he better pack that lark up.
Exactly.
Completely against procedure.
The train climbs up through the North Yorkshire Moors National Park. 500 square miles of wild, untamed moorland. In the dry summer weather, a new hazard has emerged. Coal-burning engines spit out sparks galore, and there's a real risk of wildfires. With blazes already raging across Saddleworth Moor in Lancashire, Boss Chris is beginning to get worried.
The one blot on the landscape at the moment is the heat wave that we're currently experiencing. The whole of the country is experiencing it, and lots of heritage railways have actually stopped running steam altogether. We don't want to be the second Saddleworth Moor. We don't want to be in the headlines for the bad things. We want to be in the headlines for the good things and the good work we do.
The man responsible for the safety of the national park is Head Ranger Bernie McLinden. He's on his way to meet Chris to discuss the dangerous situation on the moor.
We're in a moorland environment, and when the weather's dry, it's very, very susceptible to wildfire.
At Levisham Station, Chris and his fire officer John need to convince Bernie that they're taking the threat seriously.
We've been out on the moors this morning and had a look at the vegetation, and obviously it's very dry, as we know.
We're very, very aware that running through an area of outstanding natural beauty and a national park means that we have got to take responsibility for our actions. I can't put hand on heart and say we're not going to get any fires. That would be naive.
Nobody can say that.
But what we can say is if we pull off steam engines, there's no two ways about it. You know, we've got a business risk.
For now, Chris will keep running the steam trains the public want to see. If he had to stop, it'd be a disaster for the railway.
If Bernie was to say to us that he thought that the fire risk was too great to carry, that would kill us financially. We have not got the resilience that could guarantee that if we stopped running trains, we wouldn't have to think about, letting staff go. And that is not something I want to do, ever.
Coming up, Piglet's star engine is ready to attempt her comeback.
Let's see if this thing moves.
But will the fire risk send the railway's profits up in smoke?
£2,280 if you went to your local service station.
Just thinking of nectar points, though.
It's July, and the North Yorkshire Moors Railway is struggling to cope with the biggest heat wave in 40 years. With the threat of one stray spark from his engines setting the moors ablaze, Piglet has gone to see how bad conditions really are.
It just takes one ember, and that lot could go up. And the last thing you really want to do is run the steam engine through it. And what do? It's exactly what we do.
Out on the most exposed area of moorland, Piglet's worst fears are confirmed.
As you can see here, this is where we had a small fire, and it's so dusty and dry. Look at it. This is quite worrying, actually. We're just about to come into our main season, and we've got a potential problem like this that might prevent me running our rock stars of the railway, the steam engines. That's what people have come to see. It is a fire-breathing dragon, isn't it, that's trundling through very dry, crispy scenery. If the forecasters are right, we've got some serious issues up here, we really have.
In a flash of inspiration, Piglet's fitting spark arresters to all his steam locos. They're metal grills which should stop hot embers escaping.
We've got a new spark arrestor going in the front of this engine. We've put a finer mesh on it to hope that it stops a lot of the smoke box char and things being ejected out the chimney. So, you know, it's a really important piece of kit, even if it does look like a waste paper bin.
It's a mucky job, but Piglet's not going to get his hands dirty.
You quite often get in trouble from missus when you've been working in a smoke box for a day, because when you've had a shower or a bath at home, you end up with like a black tide mark around the outside at bath. So what colour hair did you used to have before you went a bit grey?
Dark brown hair.
So we could make you, if you rub your head on inside of that smoke box there and we put some in.
We look 21 again.
This is just for men's soot, this is. You go out and put some in. Look at that, look.
Oh, that's good, Dan.
Do you want some, Dave?
No, thanks for asking.
But spark arresters alone aren't enough to calm boss Chris's fears. The only way to really reduce the fire risk is to add another engine onto each train, one that doesn't burn coal.
What we can do with the diesels is we can attach them to the train with the steam engine so that it stops the steam engine as working as hard. When you hear a steam engine chuffing and working really hard, climbing the hills, there's a greater risk of it emitting sparks and embers out the chimney. If we can have a diesel on back, giving it, you know, a bit of thrash like shoving train up hills, that does reduce the risk quite a lot.
But even with diesels doing most of the work, small fires are still being started. The only way to make sure they don't get out of control is to follow every train through the risky area.
Well, we're shadowing the train that's just gone down, just checking for any fires on the line side.
The latest recruits in the war with the weather are Jim and Mark.
This week already we've had 2 fires on the line side, but we've managed to get them out before they got into anything serious. You can see down here how dry everything is with the grass and that. So there needs a small spark and it's away, especially if there's a breeze.
The danger is not just along the track. Sparks can get blown further afield.
The smell's important, especially when we have to go on the forest road. We're looking for wisps of smoke coming off the side. Sometimes it can linger for ages and then suddenly flare up.
They've got to keep their eyes and noses peeled.
Oh, I can
We can smell smoke.
Shall I go down and have a look?
Let's go out for a nosing.
All good, Mark, all clear. Right.
This time it's a false alarm. During Gold Timetable, the railway lays on 20 scheduled trains a day.
2 for Grosmont, please.
Yes, certainly. £52, please.
Evening dining services are also a big earner. Tonight there's a murder mystery diner running one way and a curry train the other. That means an evening in the Grosmont signal box for ex-fencing instructor Alistair.
I said to the roster clerk, well, look, I'll come in on Friday. I'm not doing anything. Without realising, actually, yeah, Friday the 13th is my wedding anniversary. So I'm kind of hoping the diner's not too late back tonight, because I've got to get the late night fuel station and buy some flowers. Right, where's my lever cloth? Ah, there we go. That's me light come on there, telling me he's finally ready to go.
Rush over. What does the man in charge of what is essentially a giant train set do to pass the time?
I've got a couple of guys who are in the local war game group who love collecting the figures, but aren't that keen on painting them all. This is just the basic sort of block colour for the coats. They call it field grey, but it's obviously green. The Germans had actually invaded Yorkshire. All the locals would have come out with cricket bats and things, you know. Oh, good grief. That'll be the telephone. No rest for the wicked.
The call warns Alistair that the curry train is coming, and there's a surprise.
You all right, Colin? That's not for me, is it? Oh, fantastic. Oh, look at that.
Am I good to you?
Oh, you're a good man. Don't want to let this get cold. Good grief. Right. Hey, I tell you what, that's not bad, that, you know.
The life of a signalman can be a lonely affair, but Alistair has got some company.
The station's home to 4 different species of bat. If you're into bats, it's great. We get a lot of owls as well, so you can sit and watch the wildlife. And some of the villagers lurching up and down out the pub's quite funny as well. But, you know, there's a bit of entertainment for the evening.
Shift over. There's still time to get those anniversary flowers.
Might go for a pint on the way home, I think.
Who said romance was dead? The next morning at the engine shed, head fitters Barney and Nick are in early.
Right, got some tools.
To cope with the fire risk, Piglet has had to hire in 2 new diesels, and they both need servicing before they can be put to work.
Normally just put out 4 steam engines and 1 diesel, but now it's 4 steam engines, 3 diesels, and a diesel on standby. But now that we can't cope with.
The new arrivals are both Class 20 diesel locos. They might not be to your steam aficionado's taste, but at 60 years old, they're actually heritage engines in their own right.
Oh, you want to see it start up then, mate? Yes, please.
Steam or diesel, the challenge of keeping them going is a labour of love for Nick and Barney.
What you got to remember is we're working with 1960s technology, 1960s electronic components, so we have to be more and more ingenious how we keep them working. And I'd be stacking beans in a shop if I wasn't here.
All their diesels will need a thorough MOT every 72 hours for as long as they're in use.
Arguably, some of the time, diesels need a little bit more love and attention than a steam engine does. The steam engine will carry on running when it's absolutely knackered. Whereas you wouldn't want to do that with one of these. They'd just come back and bite you.
Primed for action, these unsung heroes are now ready to do their bit to keep the steam service on track. But first, they need fuel. A lot of it.
1,900 litres, £2,280 if you went to your local service station.
Just thinking of nectar points, though.
The combined fuel and hire fees for the 2 extra diesel engines comes in at around £5,000 a week. And with no end to the drought in sight, boss Chris is feeling the pinch.
It's a nice summer, but the costs are rising. We're seeing a situation where we have to bring in diesel locomotives plus all the extra crews. But really, you know, it's so important, the 6 weeks of the summer holiday, that these are measures that have to be considered and you have to be prepared to make.
Each summer season, the railway likes to have a new engine ready to wow the crowds. This year's star attraction is Eric Tracy, one of the last steam locos used by British Rail and an old favourite of Piglet's.
Got a lot of fond memories for people as Eric Tracy. Yeah, I remember coming when I was 16 and putting a regulator in this. They're just a real good do-it-all engine.
Every 10 years, the steam locos are withdrawn from service for a complete overhaul. After 18 months and £500,000 later, Eric Tracy is almost ready for her comeback.
Changed the livery of it this year. We even got gold leaf on the side of it. No expense spared here, like.
Almost see me face in it, that. That's how shiny it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
One of the last jobs is to fit the piston valves. It's being overseen by fitter James.
We're just knocking this valve in now. Precise in making them, not too precise in fitting them.
Every piece of this 80-year-old engine has been taken apart, checked and put back together. The first test is to find out if she can still move.
All the pressure's on, really. It's got to perform now. If it doesn't perform now, it'll reflect badly on us. That's not very nice, is it? OK, James. Let's see if this thing moves.
The first movement. Will it go? Woo! Moving. That's brilliant, that. It goes. Keep it coming. She moves. First time in 2 years that's moved under its own steam.
But when they try to put the brakes on,
All right. Kind of. It's blowing straight to exhaust.
You pushed on the handle, it won't make any difference.
That's off.
That's off.
a 130-ton steam engine with faulty brakes is a non-starter. Or, in this case, non-stopper.
It's not perfect, so we certainly won't be going out on the line.
It looks like Eric Tracy's big comeback is going to have to take a train check.
I wonder if I've got a friend in the Heritage Railway somewhere else that could lend me a Black 5 brake valve.
Coming up. Up on the moor, it's the railway's worst nightmare.
Hello, go for the signal box. I'd like to report another fire.
And Piglet's precious steam engines are driving him loco.
Everyone else is enjoying weather, and there's me here, absolutely scared to death that we're going to set fire to all the scenery that everyone's coming to see.
It's early morning at the engine shed. James has been struggling to get Eric Tracy, a London Midland Scottish Black 5, back into service. After 18 months and 20,000 hours of work, James has found another problem.
You see where it's come off there? It's unzipped itself.
The panels holding the boiler's insulation in place have popped open and the cladding is hanging out. A case of bulging midriff.
The loco was needed for Gold Timetable, but we keep coming across little fiddly faults. A little bit more work required, I think.
Keeping these amazing machines up and running 50 years after British Rail threw them on the scrap heap is not for the faint-hearted.
Working under a loco, you've got hazards absolutely everywhere. You've got valves dripping continuously, and that's red hot, that water. Oh yeah, that's warm.
While the boys sweat it out under the boiler, James and Piglet are trying to sort the brake problem. Time to go back to the instructions.
As well, there's a lot of measurements on it, isn't there?
Quite a lot of money on none of these sizes being the same.
Piglet couldn't find the part he needs, so James will have to machine an old brake valve, accurate to within 1/1000th of an inch.
This brake here, this one handle, is the thing that stops this whole engine. 130 tons on one valve, so this has got to be right, there's no question. Should we try it?
Yeah.
That's better. Screws in nice.
Something right for once.
The railway has 115 paid staff, but it couldn't survive without the 1,000-plus army of volunteers. During Gold Timetable, the extra passengers mean they need extra train crew.
Do I get a wave as well?
Today, platform foreman Bertie is training up 58-year-old Adrian, a recently retired GP and aspiring travelling ticket inspector.
Part of being a good ticket inspector is communicate with the passengers. This train is going to Whitby. Answer any of their questions.
Nobody said anything to us.
Didn't they? But don't say, oh, I haven't got a clue, and walk off. And if you do that, you'll make a good ticket inspector.
Sounds good to me.
With 7 years' experience, there's not a lot Bert doesn't know about ticket inspecting.
Right, good morning. Lovely. Can I see tickets, please? All the way to Whitby. Lovely.
Including how to spot fare dodgers.
Morning. Have you got a ticket for the dog? Afraid you have to pay for dogs. £3 it is.
For Bert, it's important to look the part.
All that we're actually given is the tie. If you can have a hat, it makes all the difference.
I'm a little bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment because I'm still sort of starting, so I've got... I'll gradually get
You've got to build your way up, have you?
It's a lot to take on board, even for a doctor.
I've got good person skills, I hope, being a GP. But I'm struggling with all the intricacies of how a railway works. People getting off on short platforms and long platforms, putting door locks on and taking door locks off.
Right, it's Whitby. You can all get off now if you want to.
But the journey's not over. Bert wants to know if Adrian has taken it all in. Time for a quick test.
So you're all right on Module 5. Module 6. If there was a party of 4 and the 4 gave you complimentary tickets, what would you ask them?
It'd be a family, I don't know.
No, if they're together all day, you only need issue 1 ticket.
Never mind, Adrian. Rome wasn't built in a day.
And you look very nice with all your medals.
Thank you very much. You better not film this, though, in case my wife spots it. Here we go. Lovely. Well, there we are, see? You're on the railway, you get the full works.
It's 3 weeks into gold timetable and fire prevention measures are still in full force. Every steam engine now has a diesel on the back, which means the railway needs twice as many drivers. Even head of carriage and wagons Kieran has had to be drafted in.
The railway is absolutely flat out at the moment with firecon, so every member of staff, every volunteer is doing the best to try and get us through what we're doing at the moment. So it means me coming out of the office today to drive today so we can just keep trains running.
A die-hard diesel fan, Kieran will be assisting 4 steam services today, pushing 7 of his 1940s carriages all the way from Pickering to Whitby and back.
I've worked on this railway 17 years and I've never ever seen the motors as dry as they are. Literally the becks and everywhere are completely dry at the moment, but we're keeping steam running at least, so people are coming and getting what they're paid for. My job today literally is pushing steam engines up the hills. As you can see, very nice view out of this window. My view is the back of a coach.
Kieran may be partial to a diesel, but it's costing boss Chris a small fortune. With no break in the weather, he doesn't have a choice.
The biggest single risk is that if we did have a big fire, it would mean that we would have to stop running trains. That would cut our income to zero, and that would be a disaster.
At Gromont Station, Chris is meeting his fire prevention team for an update.
Right then, just a quick one. I'm basically looking at John, because you are our litmus paper on all things dry, and just wondered basically where we are.
Right, well, the line side is very dry. The moor itself is also very dry because I had a look up at the top of the moor.
We do have rain forecast this week, don't we?
We do, but it's just showers again. And the way that the temperatures are, with a breeze every day, it's drying out as quickly as it comes down.
We're performing well as a railway, but just about every penny we're performing up, we're using in costs at the moment. You know, we'll have to cut back on luxuries next year, you know, like steam engines and track and wages.
It's bad news for Chris. For the time being, at least, those expensive diesels are here to stay.
Just into the distance there, I can see the flashing lights of a fuel tanker delivering another 8,000 litres of fuel onto the railway, which is a bit depressing. I'd rather we were burning coal than diesel, but you have to live and learn.
Up on the moors, it's another long, hot day in the sun for father and son team Steve and Harry.
The whole countryside wants rain, doesn't it? You can see how dry it is. It needs to rain and get going again.
There hasn't been a fire for over a week, but with the moor as dry as it is, it's only a matter of time. And that time is now.
Here we go, we've got one.
The boys are on the fire like a flash. If an engine has started one fire, there'll be others. Further down the line, there's a second fire. The only way to control the flames is to blow them back over the already burnt ground.
It's a time factor, isn't it? If you're not on them when they start, it just gets bigger while you're not there, doesn't it? But we could have another one.
Steve identifies the culprit. The fires are all coming from the B1 engine.
Hello, Control, it's Steve here. B1 is causing us no end of fires.
Keeping pace with a speeding, fire-breathing steam engine is hard work, and it's not over yet. It's a nightmare. The driver coming the other way has spotted a third fire. It's the same culprit, the B1 engine.
The signal box, I'd like to report another fire at plate lace from the B1. Can you just let control now, because that's the third one it's started when it's way to Pickering.
Piglet orders the engine to be recalled to the yard.
I'm just going to go underneath and have a look at the ash pan screen on the B1. And that screen stops any fire falling out of the ash pan. Just wanted to make sure that the catches are all there and there's nothing actually wrong with the integrity of the screen itself.
The screen acts like a fire guard to stop large embers getting onto the track. The question is, why isn't it working?
There's nothing wrong with the screen. It's human error while it fell out. I'm going to have to give them a bit of a slap, I think, because one simple human error can cause thousands and thousands of pounds worth of costs. Everyone else is enjoying weather, having a nice barbecue and making most of it, and there's me here, absolutely scared to death that we're going to set fire to all the scenery that everyone's coming to see.
Over in the yard, there's more bad news. One of the other steam locos, the standard tank engine, has come limping back home.
I'm going to put an oxygen board on it.
Head boilersmith Mark goes underneath to take a closer look.
First thing we're looking at is the brake cylinder, and the brake cylinder itself is sticking out about 2 inches. It's not a simple fix. We're going to have to take it apart now.
With one loco down, it's Eric Tracy's opportunity to shine. But you can't rush an old star onto the stage.
Unfortunately, they're not quite like a car where you could just turn the key and brum and away you go. We need a sort of 24 hours notice that we need them.
And James has noticed a new serious problem.
All that steam coming out of there should not be coming out of there. This pipe is red hot.
Eric's suffering from what's known as a dodgy clack valve, which controls the flow of water to the boiler.
We'll resolve it somehow. We can fix anything. It's just the timing of it, you know. It's called timetable. So, yes, we have to get it sorted.
James's first challenge is to get the broken valve out of the boiling hot steam engine.
If it's got a bit of pressure behind it still, it'll go boom, and you'll never find it again. Like that. Right.
Gloves on for this, then.
Normally, you get your bare hands on it, and it'd be easy. Come on. I've never had one fight me to come out before.
James's clack is giving him flack, but he's not going to give up easily.
Absolute dog. This is agonising, this. Let's try a different approach.
He's persistent, I'll give him that.
I will get it, I won't be defeated.
I make that tool number 9. Free at last, James can crack on with the repair.
Oh, it's warm.
For Piglet, it's the end of a stressful day. And through all the ups and downs, there's been one much-loved member of staff who was missing.
Right, so I'm just going to go see one of my retired employees of many years. I'm going to see how they're getting on and whether they're enjoying their retirement. Hey-oh.
Hello.
Ah!
Okay, see you.
That's who I've come to see. Hello.
See you.
Piglet found Erica the cat when she was a tiny kitten hiding among the steam locos. No one knew where she'd come from, but for the next 15 years, the shed was her home. But a few months ago, she became ill, and it was decided she needed a more comfortable retirement home, a cat's whisker away from the railway.
She used to sit on my desk, didn't you? And you used to chew the corners of my folders. She used to eat the ends of my biros, right? I've never heard you meow this much before. People used to come up to the engine sheds just to see Erica. And she's been in all kinds of stuff, hasn't she? Like magazines and the Japanese. We had some come over and do photo shoots with her. And
Got the book.
Have you got a copy of? Oh, I haven't seen that in years.
She's the some of you in there as well.
My Japanese is a bit rusty, but yeah, there she is. Oh, there's me.
Yeah.
Oh, I look so young there. Yeah, I've still got them overalls and all.
Piglet hasn't come empty-handed. He's brought his old friend a treat.
You like a dreamy? Hmm? You want a dreamy? Have you tried one?
No. Why would I try one, Jim?
Well, just out of curiosity more than anything. With cheese, right? Cheese is
Yeah, but what else is in them?
Vitamins and minerals, and there's only 2 calories. They're not that bad, actually. I'm not a vegetarian.
Coming up, Eric Tracy finally attempts her big debut.
No rituals, just cross fingers and pray.
And boss Chris gets the graveyard shift on fire patrol.
I could just be opening a bottle of wine, but no, I'm with John, grumbling our way through the North Yorkshire countryside.
The North Yorkshire Moors Railway has been battling to keep its summer gold timetable on track. And at the same time, they've been trying to get star engine Eric Tracy back into service.
Hey, Richard!
With an engine down, Eric's needed back on full duties immediately, without the usual running-in period. So James can only cross his fingers and hope for the best.
You look at this fine machine and it's worth all the hard blood, sweat and tears. She's ready, so let's give her a fighting chance.
At Gromont, the engine will be hooked up to 3 carriages full of passengers, which she'll haul all the way to Pickering.
But it's the first passenger carrying turn that it's on, so it has to be right now.
It's a great honour to take a loco on its first proper run. But with the temperature about 90 degrees on the footplate, Fireman Howard is feeling the heat.
It's going to be warm, yes. Very warm.
As soon as it gets that signal, he's moving. No rituals, just cross fingers and, yeah, pray.
Passing the signal at danger. You're clear on this side.
Here we go. My God, there's hordes of them at the shed. They're all lined up. Right, gathering out here. Plenty of support for the pride of the fleet.
Away from the engine shed, the track starts a steep ascent up to the heights of Goathland. A 1 in 49 gradient hill, it'll test this old engine to the limit.
Last bit, Howard. Yep.
Eric makes it to the top with ease.
Locomotive's performing faultlessly so far.
There's good days, there's very good days, and there's excellent days.
For James, the team, and especially the old loco, days don't come much better than this.
Back to work now.
That's
me going to work, yeah. That one next.
Back to it.
The railway now has all the steam locos it needs to keep the service running. But it could all be for nothing. The moors have never been drier, and the national park is on the verge of putting a stop to steam services altogether.
What we really need is several days of good rain.
Keep doing a little rain dance every night, like. It keeps the missus amused.
Desperate times
I can't do it.
call for desperate measures.
It's not worked so far, so I might have to try a different method.
It's Friday evening, and at Pickering Station, they're preparing for another busy Pullman dining service. Because of the fire risk, it'll be powered by a diesel engine. Once again, Kieran has stepped in to drive.
I've had to give up my Friday night tonight just to come and drive this dining train. There you go, look at happy customers.
But Kieran isn't the only one who's going above and beyond to keep the show on the road.
Tonight we have our general manager doing the fire truck. What's a bit different? I'm looking forward to going by and eating, chucking some food at him.
With no willing volunteers for fire patrol tonight, boss Chris has had to step in. After the past few weeks worrying about the effect the lack of rain is having on his bottom line, Chris could do with a night away from his spreadsheet.
I have to be honest with you, I've never checked the weather more in a summer period than I have this year. And it's ironic that normally I'm checking it to see when the sunshine's coming, and this time I'm hoping that the rain's coming.
He's joining up with his fire officer, John, to patrol the stretch of track between Goathland and Levisham.
Things I could be doing on a Friday night. I could just be quite happily sat on the sofa with my wife, opening a bottle of wine. But no, I'm with John, grumbling our way through the North Yorkshire countryside. So this is a bit of a graveyard shift, this one, mate, I'm afraid.
It's not long into the patrol before the skies begin to darken. Followed by the rare but unmistakable sight of a few spatters of rain.
Well, I think that's rain, John.
And then the heavens open.
Whoa! That is one of the most spectacular displays of lightning I've ever seen. That was a good one. It's almost like being in the Blitz. That really is spectacular.
Finally, it looks like Chris's prayers, or Piglet's rain dance, have been answered, and it hasn't come a moment too soon.
Well, I reckon to run diesels at the moment, it's costing us roughly £1 a minute, and then we have to pay idiots like this as well.
No wonder he's happy. The deluge is enough to dampen the driest parts of the moorland.
Anyway, welcome to this travel show here in North Yorkshire, and I'd just like to show you the wonderful weather we experience at this time of year.
With fire patrol no longer needed, Chris can head home. Over the next few days, the weather cools, and there's a return to the traditional soggy Yorkshire summer, which means Piglet can finally say goodbye and good riddance to those dirty diesels.
We've had a meeting and we've decided that we can actually draw the diesels from service, and we're back to a steam-only service, which is brilliant, because at the end of the day, that's what people have come to see.
The North Yorkshire Moors Railway summer season has been saved in the nick of time, and Piglet is like, well, a piglet in muck.
Lovely rain on the window. Keep coming. Want loads of it. Want an absolute downpour for days and days and days.
And there's one less thing for James to worry about.
It's a good job that the diesels are going, because these wipers are just absolutely useless.
Next time, restoration of the Green Knight loco gets off to a shaky start.
Whoa, pipe there.
Engine problems threaten to derail Mark and Emma's steam wedding.
Bonnie! You are joking. I'm not. Oh, my God.
And petrolhead Kieran makes a promise that ends up backfiring.
I've done something very stupid.